Welcome back for another lore video. In today's video we're going to talk about an interesting race, a plane-touched race, a race that you might mistake for devils themselves, the Tiefling. So sit back, relax, enjoy the fire, and let's talk about Tieflings. The Tiefling will be a playable race in Baldur's Gate 3, and it will likely offer you a unique experience. If you are one to play as a Tiefling, will you give in to your ancient ancestry that's rooted in evil, or will you shatter that line of mystery and distrust that many feel about your race, and end up becoming a mighty hero among all the races? Either way, it will be an interesting journey and a great tale to be told. Towards the end of this video, we'll talk about what the advantages of playing as a Tiefling might be in Baldur's Gate 3, so make sure to stick around for that. If you guys end up enjoying this video, please subscribe, for there will be more Baldur's Gate 3 content on the way. Let's get right into it. Tieflings are human-based, plain-touched, native outsiders that are infused with the touch of the Fiendish planes. They are humanoids who have a tie to the Nine Hells. Following their bloodlines back in time will most often reveal a historic descent from fiends, which consist of demons, Yugoloths, devils, and evil deities who had bred with humans. Those are some kinky humans. Tieflings were known for their cunning and personal allure. One could even say they had traits like a silver-tongued devil would, but they could also be inspiring leaders when prejudices were laid aside. The taint of their evil ancestry could linger, and it would often seem likely for Tieflings to give into the ancient evil blood in their veins. But this blood could also oftentimes be rusty, allowing many Tieflings to pursue a more morally conscious alignment. They were not predisposed to evil alignments like you might think. Instead, they were similar to humans in that it could be hard to determine where one might stand. Fiends were evil creatures from one of the Fiendish planes, which are also referred to as the lower planes. Perhaps one of the most talked about of these planes is the Nine Hells, which was the home of the devils. The Nine Hells was a plane of sinister evil and institutional cruelty, organized in a strict caste system. The devils that call this place home were actually highly organized in their quest for status and power, and schemes, coups, and assassinations were all too common. Many Tieflings carried the blood from these devils that hail from the Nine Hells. The Abyss, home of the demons, was another common evil plane that Tiefling bloodlines could be traced back to. Another race that is similar to the Tieflings are the Aasimar, which were also human-based, plain-touched native outsiders, but their blood goes back to more good creatures such as angels. I think most of us are hoping to see and be able to play the Aasimar in Baldur's Gate 3. Tieflings typically stood between 5'6" and 6'2", and would weigh anywhere from 140 to 220 pounds, very similar to a human's height and weight. Some Tieflings in fact could look almost identical to a normal human, however most retained physical characteristics derived from their ancestry, the most common features being that of horns, prehensile tails, and pointed teeth. Some Tieflings would have eyes that were solid orbs of black, red, white, silver, or gold, while others might have more human-like eyes. A Tiefling's skin color could be similar to that of a human skin, but also extend into the more reddish and even blue-type hues as well. A Tiefling's lifespan was typically between 20 and 40 years longer than that of a human. Sometimes a bloodline could remain dormant for generations, but when it does decide to show itself, the physical appearance of that Tiefling would often depend on the exact ancestry that spawned it. Descendants from fiends were the most common. The unfortunate Tieflings who were born with strikingly inhuman features were oftentimes killed at birth by their horrified parents. And let's just say that a Tiefling's childhood was usually different than that of a normal human's childhood. Not in a good way. Tieflings unfortunately did not have a true homeland, for they were the result of fiendish interference with humans. They are a much less common race and can be found throughout the planet of Toril. Larger cities and towns are your best chance for finding one, for they were more widely accepted in larger populations that would oftentimes have a wider variety of citizens. Before the Spell Plague occurred, Tieflings were commonly found in Malhorend and Unther, but the Spell Plague was said to have drastically reduced their population in those areas. In more modern times, you would likely find them in Narfell, where the race was thought to have first appeared in ancient times. You could also find them in High Amaskar, or even the Dragonborn city of Timanther. Dragonborns were known to have a policy of racial tolerance, and a Tiefling might not look as scary to them as they might look to a human. When a tiefling would travel to smaller towns or villages, it was fairly common for them to be viewed with distrust and sometimes even flat-out intolerance or violence. They would oftentimes bring about an unsettling air around them and create discomfort for those that are near, whether it was warranted or not. This is why playing as a tiefling might offer for some interesting interactions on your Baldur's Gate 3 journey. Because of the distrust that they experienced throughout the world, many were themselves distrusting and more self-reliant, but they did tend to still be proud. Their secretive nature and dark demeanor did not help their image though, and further added to their reputation of being untrustworthy and outcasts to society. Tieflings tended to be well skilled in the art of deceiving others, so it would be unwise to assume that you know the alignment of one that you come across. Some tieflings were proud of their fiendish past bloodline, while others were repulsed by it. The ones that were proud were oftentimes fascinated by the dark and sinister events that touched the world, but they weren't necessarily evil or inclined to be involved in those events. Some of these tieflings would actually use their knowledge of evil and their own fiendish abilities to impede on these dark schemes, while others might seek for more knowledge of this sort and further emulate these evil deeds. The tieflings who were ashamed and even frightened from their heritage would many times constantly try to do good deeds to make up for the evil of their past. Others would instead take to a life of hiding and try to go unnoticed through the world rather than being targeted because of their bloodline. If you're planning on playing a morally good tiefling, don't worry too much, for there were many members of other races who would still form strong friendships with the tieflings that demonstrated their trust and friendship. These strong bonds that were formed were rarely broken. A tiefling's religion, if any at all, varied, since no god held more sway over tieflings than any other, though Asmodeus, the god of devils, might stand out the most. Most tieflings actually called on one of the primary gods of the land that they are from. Tieflings who sought power through arcane magic were most often warlocks. Their natural draw towards the fiendish planes makes this an easy choice for them. Now let's talk about what the advantages of playing as a tiefling in Baldur's Gate 3 specifically might be. As a tiefling, you will receive an ability score increase of +1 to intelligence and +2 to charisma, which certainly goes well with the warlock class. You will be given hellish resistance, which will give you resistance to fire damage in the game, and you will likely also be given dark vision, which will help your tiefling see much better in darker or dim lighting. There will certainly be many darker situations in Baldur's Gate 3, so this will be a nice feature to have. Although not shown in the gameplay, you also might gain a cool cantrip called Thaumaturgy, which will make your tiefling manifest a minor wonder, a sign of supernatural power. Upon casting, you will create one of the following magical effects within a 30-foot range. 1. Your voice will boom up to 3 times as loud as normal for 1 minute. 2. Cause flames to flicker, brighten, dim, or change color for 1 minute. 3. Cause harmless tremors in the ground for 1 minute. 4. Create an instantaneous sound that originates from a point of your choice, such as a rumble of thunder, cry of a raven, or ominous whispers. 5. Instantaneously cause an unlocked door or window to fly open or slam shut. And 6. Alter the appearance of your eyes for 1 minute. These magical effects could do things such as if you open an unlocked door, it might trigger traps in that room, or if you create a tremble in the ground, loose stones might fall, revealing a secret opening, etc. How Larian Studios would truly implement this cantrip into the game would be very interesting to see, if they even do it at all. The Tiefling race is certainly an interesting one, and if you enjoy playing a darker but not necessarily evil type of character who is also very cunning, it might be the race for you. I definitely look forward to meeting some Tieflings in the game, and also hearing about some of your encounters with them or experiences playing as one. If you like the idea of a Tiefling but don't necessarily want your bloodline to be rooted in so much evil, you might want to look into the Aasimar race, which we're hoping will also be a playable race in Baldur's Gate 3, for the Aasimar's bloodline is much more respected, for you descend from creatures such as angels. That will be it for this week's lore video. I will continue to do these types of videos, and I've already done videos on the Drow, Githyanki, and Dwarves, so be sure to check out those as well if you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It's a huge help to my videos. I do all sorts of content on this channel, ranging from comedy videos to live streams to game tutorials to game reviews to product reviews, etc. I would love to see some of you guys on a future video. Until next time.